チームネバースパーク
How's it going, YouTube? Team Never Spark co-captain here, level 69 Weedle, and we have a very special deck profile coming at you today. I'm here with our teammate NS Riplungs, who was very fortunate to top 28 this past weekend with Lilith Loop and Nats. So we're gonna bring you something hot. Go ahead, Rip.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So to start it off, we'll do the eggs. So for the eggs, I decided to run 4 Sunomons. I chose only to run 4 because I preferred the consistency of always seeing this card underneath my stack. Every time I discarded a card, it felt good always knowing that I was going to plus to draw one. And there was never a situation where I needed a 5th egg. Even in my security control matches, games usually ended pretty quick. So yeah, I never saw an issue needing a 5th egg. Right. I chose 4 Gazimons. I feel like it needs no explanation. There's a lot of memory gaining in this meta, and this card was the MVP against one of my hardest matchups, which would be Gabuban. Could always push for game when I had this card on the field. There was no way they could punish me unless I would hit a Kakaitis Breath or a Rattlestar. So always having this card in my hand or in the grave felt really good.
The memory choking is also pretty huge, especially in a Gabuban format.
Yeah. Also, people would see me discard him and be kind of like, oh, okay, he discarded Gazi, and then I'd just summon another one. So that felt really good. And then I ran 4 Gabumon. This is the best card to have underneath your stack. You attack, you draw one, discard one. Pretty much the best Ricky in the deck. And then I chose to do 3 Labramon. On play, draw one, discard one. This card helps get the deck going, filtering your deck, and it's pretty much the best rookie to summon to hard play. So yeah, didn't need 4. 3 felt really good because I was always usually building up a stack.
Okay.
And then my last 2 rookie choices, which might be people don't really see a lot, 2 Sukaimon. This card, I decided to run it over 2 cost rookies for the main reason because I felt like I never had to apply another body on the board. I was mainly focusing on one stack, which would be my Lilith stack. So I never had to, choke them at 1 because I also had tamers that are 2 costs. So if I had to go that route, I could just play those. And the second reason why I decided to run these was pretty much for like the sneaky little like rogue play. Some people didn't even know what this card did. So when they would hit into my blockers or a Digimon, I'd tell them, okay, gain a memory, and they'd be surprised because they didn't see the cards I had. And it didn't come up as much, but when it did, it felt really good. It also pluses really well with Analog Boy. So if I have this under a 5, that's 2 memory I'd be gaining on deletion.
For sure, and definitely like going into the promote, gaining rush and swinging over the Sukai, gaining a memory off that could like be really huge, especially like with a deck that you want to turbo as much memory as possible.
Yeah, that actually comes up a lot, mainly against security control. When you want to bring out a rookie against that matchup, you put promote over it, and if it dies, it doesn't, you gain that memory back. So that's good. If you wanted to, you could play the 2 cost rookies, but like I said, there's also a lot of memory tamers. So at 3 memory, I was usually just turboing into another Lilith stack.
For sure, that's a very solid rookie lineup.
For the 4s, the promote package, this would be 3 Ginkakumon, 4 Kinkakumon, and then 4 promotes. These are my level 4s, no blockers. With my testing, I played a lot of matches against, Gabuban, Agumon, and like Rookie Rush style decks because I felt like those were the main play style that's against Loop. So I was testing 4 Kinkakumon a lot. I saw a lot of lists that, preferred him. But having this card was really clutch in my deck and my matchups. Just seeing this card, knowing that I can pop bodies on the board that are rookies, of course, but that kind of covered the spot of not having blockers because I was able to apply pressure with that and clear rookies when the threat was there. And I never needed this card more than this one. When I needed this one, I would set it up to play, knowing I'm going to discard a card. But when I really needed to defend against Ricky Rush style decks, I would use this one, and then of course mainly to kill the memory chokers. You know, the Gazimons, the Betamons, the Theriamon, stuff like that. This card was the one you wanted to see when that card's on the field, because if you get memory choked and stops your Jack raids, your deck pretty much doesn't do anything. And then 4 promotes, because this is what makes like loop way better now, because you can end games, apply pressure, and when you're looping someone, I've been able to bring out 4 promotes in one turn, so you end games like that.
I really do like the Kinkaku at 4. It's very interesting because I know a lot of loop decks will usually send her to the bottom end, like as in only 2, but seeing that at 4 is very interesting. And then the route of you not going like any Vilemons and all that, would you say this is kind of more of a up tempo? You're gonna swing for game, not so much as like playing passive.
Mainly talking about Gabubon, because that's what I was mainly facing a lot. So I didn't need I didn't lose because I didn't have the blockers. I mostly lost because I didn't have either the Tamer or the Mega Fusion in my hand to apply that pressure.
Okay.
But for the defense, like that, like since you did bring that up, to cover that also, would it be the 3 Rebellimon? This is gonna be like the other MVP of the deck. This card, a lot of people think it's bad against Gabu, but when you can do a Mega Fusion play, put in damage, bring out bodies, and then go into Rebellimon and then go over Lilith and pass turn. So now your opponent is in a position where, okay, do I want to just like get rid of 2 security, bring out, yeah, they can tuck something under like on my field, but they would have to do that, get rid of my Lilith. But at that point, I already added the Jack raids back. That Lilith already it's already doing what it had to do, which is like making my opponent think twice. And if you can make your Gabubon opponent do that when they think they have the tempo, they think they have the control, like it really changes things. This card, you always obviously want to use Lady Devi, so like you want to try to hold these cards in your hand as much as possible, especially for late game plays. If it gets to that point, especially against security control, just having this card in your hand, being a blocker, it came up so many times, and it's also the MVP card against Jesmon. You have this card against Jesmon, and it pretty much solves you that one turn, and you win.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Belly for this deck.
And then the other level 5, because we only run 7, would be a Lady Devi. Doesn't really need any explanation. This is the best level 5 in the deck. Draw 3 pretty much, discard 2. And then her inherited effect came up so many times, like I said, against those Rookie Rush style decks. So having her and then Kinkaku, that really helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I never really needed I never had a game where I didn't see a level 5. So at 7, I felt like was perfect.
Because I know there's some decks that will play 8 level 5s and like kind of like soft take a Chimeramon or some of the sorts, but you felt like 7 was just the right number for you.
Yeah, it was just the right number because, like I said, with this deck, I try to aim just for consistency, getting straight to my loop, drawing and discarding. So once, like, I never had to go into another level 5 more than twice, maybe 3 times, like in an egg. And by that time, well, I already had him in my hand. So that's why I never needed the 8th one. For the 6s, we only ran 4. That's going to be the main card in the deck, Lilithmon. When I was testing, I felt like I never needed another level 6. I felt like Lilith always did what she had to do, which was do the loop. I tested Mastermon a lot, tested Titanmon a lot. I did like Mastermon, but I felt like Mastermon was so bad to play like in the beginning of the game, especially against Gabubon when they're already applying pressure. I feel like that card is like a checkmate card. Like once you bring her out, you're pretty much already like sealing the deal. But I found that having Forward Lilith, always having her is just pretty much okay. I have her, not now I can do the loop pretty much. And then, of course, 3 Zwarts. I tested 4 a lot, probably more than I tested 3. And at 4, I always saw it, but I did brick a little bit more than at 3. At 3, I always saw it, There were just very, very few games where I didn't see him like the first 2, 3 turns, but you usually see this card already like when you need to see him. 3 felt perfect. Wouldn't run any less.
Hmm.
And then the other main card of the deck would be the 4 Jack Raids. I know some people run 3, but this card is the best card your opponent can hit in security, defense wise. It came up so many times, maybe like at least once every match where this card, saved me or helped me, save that one turn and get ahead. This makes your combo go off with loop. And there was a lot of times where I already had one Jack Raid in my hand and then one in the trash. Well, two Jack Raids in my hand and one in the trash. So all I had to do was just use one, use Lilith, and I can just recycle 2 and save that third one, or potentially the fourth one.
Yeah, definitely. Because with Lilith's whole effect, having 10 cards in trash and then being able to gain into memory, one playing an option. I mean, essentially, you're just getting 3 off that, and then with loop being loop, now you're starting your combos and your turbos. So I could definitely see why you played that at 4.
Yeah, and there was even times where like sometimes where you have to make your Jack Raid live, so it didn't feel as bad burning one to like go to 10, not gaining one, but then this one would be live, like playing the second one,
Yeah,
knowing
you
that
just get
I,
it
I
back
still
with the
have,
Lilith.
yeah, and I still have like 2 other ones, maybe potentially another one in my hand.
Hmm.
And then again for the loop engine would be the 3 Mega Digimon Fusion. It's a broken card. We all know what it does, especially with the loop deck. Basically, bring out your Zord for free and then recycle with Lilith. Since the card does that, I wanted to see it like my first second turn. If I don't see this card, I'm probably either gonna lose the game or it's gonna be a grindy one. It never feels bad playing Zwart for 6, potentially 5 or 4 with the cards you have underneath Zwart in his stack or with Jack. I always wanted to see this card, and at 3, I always saw it when I needed it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And then for the Tamers, I chose 3 Analog Youth. So kind of the same thought process. If I'm gonna, this is what makes my deck loop. And I also need this card. I need to see it, as much as I see this one. So if I had ran Mega Fusion at 3, I would need, 3 Analog Boys, 3 Tamers. I chose not to run Memory Boost because I felt like this card just does what that does, but way better. And it fills up the trash. This card was probably or is the best card you can see when you brick because like you can add the card that you need, and it saved me so many times when I needed that sword or needed that promote in the trash. So 3 felt really good.
For sure. And do you think with 3 analog boy and only playing 7 options, do you think you never needed like Underworld's Call or anything like that?
Like with the main matchup I was going against, which would be Ice Wall. I mean Ice Wall, Gabubon, they would use Ice Wall, and
You said it right. It's Ice Wall.
oh yeah, at that point Ice Wall would just stall the turn. So I never needed to like kill like be able to kill my opponent that turn because I was under Ice Wall.
I gotcha. I
So
gotcha.
I would just like save up, apply pressure on the board, apply pressure because usually they would go either into kendos, put the rookies back in your hand. So just being able to apply pressure, putting multiple bodies on the board. Finally, when they don't have an ice wall, because even if they do ice wall you with the Jack Rays and your Lilith, you could still go for game. Also, another thing, I don't run the memory tamer just because if I was gonna commit memory, I always wanted it towards my Lilith stack. Never wanted to commit memory for anything else. The only other thing would be my white tamer to activate Mega Fusion. And then the last 2 cards would be my 2 tech cards. The MVP of the weekend, the card that won me so many games, 2 purple Mimis. This card was just it felt so good having this card against my Gabubon opponents because their ice walls would now cost 2. Now my opponent couldn't go from 1 memory, activate Aswar, go to 0, and then like they would usually put a Gabu or a body. It would pass turn, and then this would stand back up, and now I can activate Jack Raid, gain another memory with this Mimi. So that really helped against when I would get Ice Walled. So that kind like I would rather see this card than Underworld's Calling in that situation, if that makes sense, because I can
Absolutely.
gain memory. there were times where this would also come in clutch, making my Mega Fusion having like this set up already, an Analog Boy and a Mimi. Activate Mega Fusion and I can gain a memory. So if I had a 5, my opponent didn't expect for me to go to 3 because they see that I have not 10 cards in trash. So not only this, but even with the Jack Raid, like I said, they don't see 10 cards in trash. They're like, okay, he can't gain the memory. They forget what this does, and now you're at 3. It came up so many times, and I think the other way it comes up clutch a lot is when you're going against Gabubon, you can set up a Zwart play, and you can bring out 2 Gazis, 1 Gazi. They bring out um their bond, and they tuck your Gazis and think like, okay, I'm at 1 memory, I'm gonna tuck his Gazi and then activate Memory Spark. But they hit this in security, and now they're like, uh-oh, like I can't do that anymore. So that did come up a lot, and it saved me games like that.
All right. That was a very good and interesting Lilith Loop deck profile. So, if you don't mind telling me, pretty much a quick rundown of your matches you saw between day 1 and day 2, and which decks you feel like were, hey, this is a cakewalk versus, oh man, I might lose this one.
Yeah. So my hardest matchup was actually a security control. A lot of players think that that's an easy matchup, but if you're going against a really good security control player and they open just as good as you do, it can be like a really grindy game. Since those players already have practice against loop, they know how to play around it. So other than Gabubon, right? Because like I said, the Rookie Rush style was hard, but with the King Kakus and being able to just turbo into Zwart with promotes, like you can end that game pretty quickly. But with security control, they have recovery cards in their security, so you really have to play it smart, especially if you don't want to deck out.
Well, that's gonna pretty much wrap up this video. Again, thank you guys. This is NS Riplungs and his top 28 Lilith Loop. Congratulations, man. You did the team very proud. We much love, man.
No, yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate it. I want to shout out Bandai, Digimon, my team Never Spark, especially my friends back home who helped me play test. My friend Bink, my friend Julio.
Sounds good, man. And for all you guys that are going to be watching and are interested in Team Never Spark, we are brand new, starting our YouTube channel. So if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button down below, and be ready to see many more stuff coming along. Thank you guys. And a cut.